and welcome to Community Talk. I'm Julie Baird, Executive Director at Leonardo's Children's Museum, here for our monthly update. And this month, we have a very special guest in the studio with me. I have Mr. John Mers, who is the architect, one of the architects at Corbin and Mers Architects here in Enid, and he is also the project architect for our complete renovation.
Yes.
So welcome, John.
Well, thank you.
I think we'll start out by having you just tell us about yourself.
Well, Julie, I moved here with my family in 1980 and graduated from Enid High School in 1986 and from OSU in 1992 with a degree in architecture. And when I was at high school, that's where I met my beautiful wife, Stephanie, and we got married. And after graduating from OSU, we worked in the city for a year. She's a teacher, and she worked for a low-income school district there in Oklahoma City, and I worked for Elliott & Associates Architects for a year. But after working there for a year, I got an opportunity to come back to Enid, and I jumped on that chance. So we came back to Enid, and I started working with Ken Corbin, and I'm practicing architecture here in Enid for about 23 years now.
Wonderful. And of course, everybody knows Ken Corbin.
Yes.
He's been doing architecture here in Enid for a long time, and now you have as well. So I thought it might be fun for our viewers to hear about some of the projects you've worked on.
Well, working in architecture in Enid is a unique experience. The thing I love about it is that if working in larger towns, a lot of times you may specialize more to a specific type of a building, depending on how your firm is organized. But in Enid, you get to do a little bit of everything. We've done everything from small remodels on houses and bathrooms for residents, and we've done things as large as the Golden Oaks and the Garfield County Expo Center. Some of the other projects that we've really just been thrilled to be able to be a part of would be the David Allen Memorial Ballpark project and the Enid Police Department renovation. And we did the interior renovation for CDSA and the Farm Credit of Enid, their facility over on Owen K. Garrett. We've had it's just really is a great honor, because a lot of times the people you're working with are your friends and people that you get to see every day throughout the community. And it's just really been a wonderful blessing to be able to be a part of so many different projects and opportunities here in Enid.
It is, and I will admit, I don't know an awful lot about architecture, but I think Enid has some fascinating architecture when you look around at some of the buildings, and of course Leonardo's is a really old building too, but you look at some of those downtown, and we have a lot of different types of architecture. Yes. And so that's interesting.
Something you don't really expect to see when you come to Enid is the quality of the architecture that is here. That is something that I feel is very special to Enid. Matter of fact, that's something that Ken has told me many times. He said when he was first looking around for a place to establish his career, he chose Enid simply because of the quality of what he saw here. Enid went through a period at its development where there's just a lot of money and a lot of development in the town, and there was just a lot of very wonderful architecture being done. It's very unique to have a town this size that has three large tower buildings in the downtown area, multi-story buildings, and a lot of beautiful houses and things, and a lot of wonderful heritage here.
Yes, and I knew about some of those projects you mentioned. I did not realize that you did David Allen Ballpark and also Golden Oaks, and that was, when was that built?
The Golden Oaks was I did not work specifically on that project. That was just before I came there. Ken was working on that
it was in the 80s.
In the early 80s, the early to mid 80s is when that was done.
Yes, because my husband and I moved to Enid in 86. Yes. And that I think was fairly new then, or was being built then.
That was when the very first facility was built, and since that time I have been able to they've done an assisted living facility over there with an indoor swimming pool, and we also did another extension to their living quarters over there as well.
And then, of course, in the news a lot lately has been Enid just passed another
Yes.
successful school bond issue, and one you didn't mention, but in
Yes.
the previous bond issue, you guys built Prairie View Elementary, didn't you?
That was one of the very exciting projects that we got to work on, was working with Enid Public Schools, who we've worked with for many years, and it was very exciting to be able to be a part of their one of their first new buildings that they've done in Enid in the last. I think before that they said the first ground up education building that they have done in Enid was Waller. So
Yes.
it'll give you a sense. It had been close to
It's been a
50
long
years
time.
since,
Yes,
and we got to
yes.
work on Prairie View. We were able to also do the renovation to Waller, which that was a neat project. It was a beautiful building to work with, and it was really fascinating to see what they were able to do at that time. They built a very strong, very high quality building, and it was
Yes.
fun to be able to
Enid
add
can
to
be
it.
proud of that.
You bet.
As far as Leonardo's goes, back in 2010, we started talking about renovating our museum. And we always say we kind of got the cart before the horse because we hired the architect first, but we went through a process where we accepted bids, proposals, not really bids, but proposals of what you would do with our building. And I think it got down to final three. And I can remember when I was walking around with you and Ken and looking at our building, and then later, I think it was November of 2010 when the board heard from the three finalists. And they picked you. So what do you think it was about yours? Because you weren't even the only Enid
Sure.
finalist that we had. Why do you think they picked yours?
Well, to back up just a little bit, I would like to say that when we first heard that Leonardo's was going to be doing a project, we knew that we were very excited about the opportunity of being a part of it. We wanted to be a part of what you guys were doing. I personally had been able to be a part of helping with the Adventure Quest and the building of that, as many people in the community were. That was a neat opportunity, and something that just growing up with my two girls, we've always enjoyed being active and doing the many of the opportunities that you have given us here in Enid with Leonardo's. But in looking at that program, you had such a special plan of what you were doing, a special program. And we just, in looking at it, we thought, well, everything seems to be going right with this. How can we enhance it? How can we make it better? So we looked at the facility, looked at some things that we felt like could use some help. And one of the ideas that we had was that the entry coming into Leonardo's was on the west side. It wasn't close to the parking, but it was also Leonardo's is being in an older building. It was built in a warehouse, so the first floor was up at a truck dock height. So that was something that we thought we could do to make the entry a little bit more inviting, easier for people in wheelchairs to be able to use, and for the public. We wanted to move the entry to the south side of the building to reestablish the original entry for the building, and get it to where you could come in from the sidewalk on the lower level, so that you're able to come directly into the building without having to go through a big ramp sequence. And also, we wanted to make a connection between the Leonardo's building and Adventure Quest, which currently was kind of two things sitting side by side, but there wasn't any real strong connection there. So one of the ideas that we had with that was to take the stair tower that was already there, and we decided maybe we could modify that and make that something that would tie back to what Adventure Quest had, which one of the strong elements that defining the Adventure Quest is the series of pyramid roofs that they have that kind of build up into a castle-like form there. So we took the stair tower, we extended it up and put a pyramid roof on there, and tried to make that kind of an icon element for the museum. And there's going to be, well, there already are. They have windows on the south and the west side, and the Leonardo's logo is going to be emblazoned in those windows. So the big Vitruvian man, which is the the symbol of Leonardo's.
Yeah, so that's a Leonardo da Vinci
Yes.
creation.
Yes.
And a lot of our viewers probably don't even know this, but our founder, Owen K. Garriott, who went into space, when you go into space, you have a patch. And the Vitruvian Man was on his patch. He went into space in 73 and 83. And then when Owen and Helen were deciding what to name this children's museum that they wanted to build and donate to Enid, they chose the name Leonardo's after Leonardo da Vinci, because Helen was an artist and art teacher, and Owen was a scientist and one of the original astronauts chosen to go into the NASA space program. So it was just a really good fit, and that's why they put Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man over the gate at Adventure Quest. And then now it's going to be on our building too.
Well, and something that I don't think you even have gotten a full idea of what this is going to be like.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
But it's a cutout silhouette of the sign that's approximately 7 foot in diameter, and it's going to be surrounded by LED lights. It's going to have a multi-color element to it, and it'll be striking. When you see it.
And I really think that's why the board chose you. I think they just fell in love with the south entrance. We had 3 finalists, and you were the only one that recommended the south entrance, which to us is kind of a safety issue. But the other goal the board had was to make that entrance striking. People would pull into the parking lot at Adventure Quest, and they'd see the playground, and there's a sign that says check in at the museum. And they were looking around, where's the museum? All the buildings down there looked alike. And so now it screams Children's Museum. And so that was a great idea that you had, and we're so glad we chose you. We're getting close to being out of time, so before we run out of time, I want you to talk just a little bit about, because you kind of designed it, but now we're also working with fabricators, exhibit designers, and exhibit fabricators. Tell us quickly a little bit about the exhibits that are going to be in the new facility.
Well, if you've been to Leonardo's before, what you had was about close to 10,000 square feet exhibit space, and now we're actually going to be expanding that to almost twice the size of what you currently have by the time the second phase is done. And some of the things that we've added this time is there's going to be a 2-story climbing structure.
I'm excited about that.
It's going to tell the story of energy in Oklahoma, and it's going to have a 2-story oil derrick and a actually working pump jack that'll be moving in there that the kids will be able to manipulate and see and be able to see some of the ideas of where oil and the wind energy and things like that are associated with Oklahoma, how that came about. And there's a new critter exhibit that is almost twice as large as what you used to have.
And we put that on the west side. When we tore off that original entrance and stairs and ramp, we added exhibit space by bricking that in.
Yes. And this is going to tie into the other exhibits which you currently had with the tinkering exhibit. And we're going to have a new toddler area with many great things for the kids to be able to play with and to enjoy there. So it'll be a wonderful place for kids of all ages.
And on the second floor, real quickly, we're going to have our medical exhibit, which Integris is sponsoring that. And one of my favorite is the life-size giant operation game.
Yes.
So it's going to be really cool. The second floor will also have some repurposed and refurbished exhibits. So our grand opening is coming April 30th. We will have some more information on that next month. John, I want to thank you for being my guest today. If you have questions about Leonardo's grand reopening or any of our upcoming program events, visit us online at leonardos.org or give us a call at 580-237-2. I can't even get our phone number right. They'll put our correct phone number up, 233-2787. And we'll see you next time on Community Talk. Thank you. Like that.
welcome back to Community Talk. My name is Carrie Watts, and I'm District Executive with the Cimarron Council Boy Scouts of America. And my guest today is Bobby Schultz.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about Boy Scouts, and we have a car show, I hear, coming up this weekend.
We do have a car show. We have a car show coming up this Saturday, and it will be at the Chisholm Trail Expo Center. And we are expecting over 100 cars and a big crowd, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Is there a cost to join?
Actually, there's a fee for the cars, but the public is welcome, free of charge. It's a very neat thing, and because we have so many sponsors, they're able to cover all the costs for putting on the show. So everybody is welcome. The more, the merrier.
Very cool.
I've got something to tell you that you might not have known. We're going to have the Geronimo. It's the only Geronimo in the world, and they were built right here in Enid in the early part of the century, last century, not this century. And when the war broke out, a lot of those cars were torn apart, used for the war effort, the steel and all the metal. And they thought that it was part of a lost history, except, as I understand it, in the late 70s, they found one that was in really bad shape. But the Enid Antique Auto Club has been able to rebuild the thing from scratch. They found parts from all over the country, little parts, radiator caps and things that people have sent them. And the parts they didn't have, they were able to machine, and they have totally rebuilt this Geronimo. And it's really, really a neat vehicle, and that's going to be on display. And 3 lucky people could have a chance to take a ride in the Geronimo. Bud Smith is going to be their chauffeur, take them around town, and you're going to have to really hang on because the top speed gets up to 35 miles an hour.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's going to be a lot of wind in your hair if they put the top down. But it's a really neat vehicle. We also have one of only 14 Monroes in the world will be there, and it'll be good to come out and see that because this is going to be a before opportunity. And if you'll come back next year, then you'll be able to see the work that they've done on it, and within the next few years, they'll have it fully restored, and it'll be quite an addition to the Enid collection.
Well, that's awesome. Are there any other interesting cars out there?
There are, and I'm glad you asked that. Last year, Brad Waken, who is one of our executive board members, brought out a Packard, and I'd always heard about Packards, but I had no idea what a Packard was, and he had me get in the car. And that was about the epitome of comfort, I think, at the time. And lots of headroom, legroom, and now I understand why the guy on the Monopoly board drove a Packard. It's really neat. They also have Model A's, Model T's, but it's not just really antique cars. They have all the way up to modern cars, current cars. But a lot of pre-war things and Duesenbergs, lots of really, really neat cars. And it's an interesting opportunity to be able to see some of the great cars that people right here in Enid own that you might not ever have a chance to see up close and personal. So.
Well, what time does it start?
It actually is open to the public at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And they'll be judging, I believe, at noon. And then they'll award all the prizes at 2:30, and we'll have Boy Scouts out there to award prizes, and we expect a really good turnout. The last few years, it's grown and grown, and we have room for everyone, and if we don't, we'll have overflow. So it'll be great.
I heard there's going to be Dutch oven cobblers.
There will be Dutch oven cobbler. Boy Scouts are going to provide free Dutch oven cobblers to people who come out and view the cars, and it went over really well last year. In fact, they ran out. It was so popular. But we'll also have a concession stand where we'll have hamburgers, hot dogs, and that sort of thing, with the money going to benefit the Scouts as well.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of scouting?
I can. Scouting started in 1910 in the United States, and it, of course, originally started in England by Lord Robert Baden-Powell, who was a war hero. And boys were mimicking him and walking around and pretending to be soldiers, and he thought that it would be better to teach them leadership skills and outdoor skills without the military slant to it. And so he started it. It came over to the United States. And in our area, Enid had a Boy Scout council, the Great Salt Plains Council, that was formed about 1935. And then in the year 2000, Enid and Ponca City's councils merged to form the Cimarron Council. So you can look at it as we've been here 15 years, or you can look at it as over 100 years. And we're very lucky that we have 3 good camps that scouts from Enid and Garfield County can go utilize. We have Camp Sundance, which is near Bison, in between here and Hennessy on Highway 81. We have Camp Williams, which is near the Fairview Clio Springs area. That's used for weekend camping and family camping. And then we have Will Rogers Scout Reservation, which is near Cleveland, and that's our largest camp. And the reason we have a car show is our sponsors are donating money, and that money goes to help us provide these camps and these opportunities for our scouts at no charge.
Now, if someone wanted to become a sponsor, what number would they need to call?
Well, they would need to call Bud Smith at Liberty Federal Savings Bank. He is the president of the bank, and he is the one that is our volunteer chairman for the event. And he would be more than happy to hear from anyone that would like to be a sponsor.
Well, thank you for the information about the car show. How old do you have to be to join?
You can, boys can actually join Cub Scouting when they go into first grade. And 1st through 5th grade are Cub Scouts, and then 6th grade until boys turn 18 are Boy Scouts. We also have a program called Venturing and a program called Exploring, and those are both co-ed, and they're for boys and girls ages 14 until they turn 21.
Awesome. Well, if you'd like information on joining Scouts, you can call the council office at 580-234-3652. And again, my name is Carrie. I'm district executive, and we'd like to thank Bobby for being on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching.
Hi, welcome to this segment of Community Talk. I'm here today with my friend Lisa to tell you about a volunteer quest. I'm Bobby Donaldson, and I am a retired long-term care administrator. And with me today is
Lisa Bland-Selix, and I'm the director at Senior Life Network. And Bobby and I have known each other for a while now.
Yeah, because she's really old.
People also call you what, the nursing home lady?
Yeah, the old nursing home lady. That's what. Aren't you the old nursing home lady? Yes, I am. Anyhow, we have this like passion for all of the people who give of themselves and their things and their time for those who just need help. So we decided, and Lisa kind of tucked this ball under her arm and ran down the field with it, to have a volunteer fair, which became a volunteer quest with its own logo and its own, because everybody who knows me knows I didn't do this. So let's talk about who's invited to this.
Well, we felt like this was a great way to bring a lot of organizations in town were always, I need volunteers. And we thought that this would be a great way to have people come out to the mall. They can go to different organizations who have a table, and they can kind of like a one-stop shop decide maybe where they might like to plug in their time and talent. And so it is kind of like a job fair, but it's a volunteer fair. So we have lots of different organizations that are going to come out and have tables that they need volunteers, like Loaves and Fishes, Fly Film Festival. There's a little bit of everything. So
when are you doing this?
we are doing this, and this is the flyer. You've probably seen it on Facebook. It is March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to have door prizes for people that come out and go to the event. We are going to have, I'm still securing some things, but we hope there will be a nurse there to do blood pressure checks. Everybody likes to find out if their blood pressure is good, bad, or whatever. And so we will be doing that. And we hope it will be a fun day of networking and just seeing what's out there if you want to be a volunteer.
Okay, so it's next Tuesday from 10 to 2 at the mall in the kind of west end of the mall down
Right.
around our offices in Dillard's. And what we want is if you just have time and you want to know, come by and see. I think you'll be amazed. Like Lisa said, we have the Fly Film Festival. This is an incredible thing to be involved in if you want to. My personal passion, the Gaslight Theater, Loaves and Fishes. Some of these people need as little as someone who will make a phone call once in a while to a shut-in and say, how are you? Or take a list and send a Christmas card or an Easter card. Some of them are Meals on Wheels. So if you think you don't have anything to give, trust me, as an old retired woman, we all have one more thing left to give back, and that's that we care for others. And I think like Ross Healthcare, the Living Center, the long-term care facilities, which are my passion, volunteers with an hour a month can change a life.
Exactly.
They have such an opportunity. So we've kind of talked about what's going on that day. I think it's fun that the one thing we know is that every booth will have a door prize. And so from time to time during the day, we'll be drawing for those.
We thought that would be a fun way to get people involved, to be there and be at the event and at least get something, for their time. And lunch will be provided for the people who are manning their tables.
For the workers.
And that will be provided. Senior Life Network is a collaboration between Integris and Northwest Oklahoma Osteopathic Foundation. And so the foundation is going to fit the bill for those lunches. And so that will be great for people that are there. They won't have to worry about getting a lunch. And so I think I looked at the weather, and as long as the weathermen are right 5 or 6 days out, or however many days it is, it looks like it's going to be a nice day. So that's a good plus. We're not going to have any ice or anything like that. So, and it will be down in the mall, right there in front of Dillard's, in front of Senior Life Network. And so we're expecting, we hope, a big crowd.
Well, and we have a fair amount of people who've expressed interest in having a table. I know, like, my personal knowledge is for the Gaslight, some of the things that people can volunteer for is if you're a hairstylist and you want to come because we're doing anti-mame and we need somebody with talent to do those amazing, or if you sew, or if you're just crafty and you want to glue a lot of feathers on a big hat, we're your guy. With Loaves and Fishes, we, of course, have the food drive coming up right away. And those who can, if you don't walk and gather food, some of you can be sure that you notify your neighbors. There are many ways that you can help be sure that we have the food we need. With the Salvation Army, what we all know is they ring the bell at Christmas time. The amount of other things they do is, I could never be on here long enough to list all that. Senior Life is a great program for our seniors, and it gives you a chance that day to kind of see some of the things that are going on and know, what maybe is there for you at this time. If we have young people that maybe want to just help with the Hearts for Care. Am I saying
Right.
that term right?
That's another one of our booths.
Tell us a little bit about Hearts for Care. I think this program
Well,
is...
I know that they provide some services for seniors here in town, and just some things like I know they have a young man that's or I don't know how old he is actually, but he's a carpenter.
He's handy,
and
yeah.
he a handyman. That's a good thing. And he does a lot of things for people that are just sometimes you just need something fixed around the house, and a lot of our older people do not have anyone in the family, or they maybe don't have any relatives around and need someone, and that person, they have a person. So it's that kind of thing. And if you have a skill, you can come and volunteer, and maybe they'll have you go out and do something for people
Hearts
and make
for
a
Care is
difference.
not a charge, right?
That's the way I understand
how-
it,
yeah.
unless there was parts or something. But I'm not that. There will be a lady there that can answer all your questions.
And that's what I think we're saying is that on this day at these booths, we have a little bit of knowledge, which we know is a very
Right.
dangerous thing, but we're actually going to make available to people who actually know the right answer, which
Right.
is very different than sometimes the answer you get from us. I'm so sorry to say.
So why do you like to volunteer, Bobby?
Well, you know, I'm 70 years old, and I worked all my life, and I have such a blessed life. I'm married 45 years to the love of my life. My children are healthy. My grandchildren are healthy. I was born to a loved and wanted child. But I found, especially when I no longer worked, I lost part of my value, because my value, and I think all of us, at some point is what we can do that somebody else either can't or doesn't do, or that is simply
Serving
appreciated.
others, yeah.
And I think it feeds your soul. I guess that's what I really think about volunteering. And I know that what I hope we get from this, and what I hope some of you today see, is you're sitting there and you're going, well, I don't even have a car, or I don't feel like getting out most days. Would you be willing to write a birthday card to a shut-in or a nursing home resident or someone, just so that there was somebody? Would you make a phone call once a week and say, how are you? And would you go by and fill a bird feeder for someone who's wheelchair bound?
Right.
You know, what would you do to make somebody else's life better? And I give you my word from personal experience, it absolutely will make your life better. It makes your heart healthier.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, there are so many, a lot of people, like we've talked about, they did work for many, many years, and they have some have some highly specialized skills. Everyone has, you know, time and talent and things that they can do to be of service. And there's no better way to feel needed than providing some of these services.
I know we had a lady one time, and I said to her, you should just come volunteer with us a little bit at a kind of a home service group from a church. And she said, I've been raising my kids and cooking for my husband. I don't know how to do anything. So I called her one day. I said, I'm at this lady's house, and this pantry is a nightmare. The jelly is next to the soup. And she said, I will be right there. And when she got done, the jelly was next to the jelly, and then the peanut butter. And she took everything out and wiped it, you know. And this is like a little task that is some manual labor. But she had run a kitchen, and she knew, you know. And then the little person who lived there, the little man who didn't have very good eyesight, he then knew where his stuff kind of was, you know.
Right.
And she made like a little note for him, for the person who shopped, that said, don't buy any can opener cans, only buy pull-top cans for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because he,
Right.
So what you can bring, or I mean, it can be, you know, and everybody's busy. And everybody says, I don't have 5 minutes to myself. I promise you, you can get this hour a month. Give yourself an hour a month. Find it. Look for it. Skip a TV show.
Exactly.
Eat one less piece of pie, or you can eat it in the car on the way there, I have found. But whatever it is that you might have to rearrange your schedule for, I give you my word, it'll bless your heart beyond anything you could imagine. And the people who are there and waiting for someone to come for them, when they open that door and that face is on the other side of it, it's everything.
Right. Yeah, that's great. That it makes a giant difference in people's lives. Again, we're talking about Volunteer Quest 2016, so hopefully that means there will be more. And we just say that we're seeking Enid's best volunteers. 1 hour a week can change your life, and it might be life-changing for someone else. It'll be next Tuesday, March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 at Oakwood Mall, and right there in front of Senior Life Network, and we'll be there. And we hope that a lot of people in Enid will come out and see what's going on.
And don't miss a chance to know what maybe, like, what does the Gaslight Theater have that you could do? You love the theater, but you'd be terrified to ever be on stage. If you can't walk door to door and get a can of food for somebody, what could you do for Loaves and Fishes? You have no idea how many things they need done. Save your sacks and take to the amount of things. And what is it you like? You like small children. Does some group like that need one more person to oversee the little yellers and screamers running up and down?
Right.
We talk a lot about the older people here because that's kind of our area of expertise. But we want everyone who sees this that wants to give something to someone who needs it, to give them the most precious gift you'll ever give them. Give them your time.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is true.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Please come see us Tuesday.
Yes, and if you want to have a table, just give us a call at Senior Life Network 234-6060, and we'll get you fixed up.
And there's no charge for the table. We're asking for small door prizes from anybody who participates. But as far as nothing is free. Oh, yes, it is.
Yes.
Come on down.
All right. Come out and see us.
Yeah. And for everybody who ever volunteers or checks on their neighbor or does something unnoticed and unrewarded in this life, thank you so much.